I was probably unfair to myself. Life happens. Hi, I'm Ziad Ahmed, and I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the CEO and founder of Juve Consulting. Essentially, we are a Gen Z company that works with clients to help them better understand and empower young people. Because too often, conversations are happening about us, but not actually including us. What I'm here to do is to try to bring more diverse young voices to the table, to try to maybe create the world that we actually want to live in. I started my business when I was a junior in high school. I had never did the thought cross my mind that I'd be doing this full time now. Like, it was supposed to be a small side project. I just thought, like, maybe this should exist in the world. Found myself in rooms that I didn't know existed, where I was the youngest person by 2 decades or 3 decades, where people are talking about young people but not talking to us at all. And I certainly should not have been the only Generation Zer there, when I know that there are a million other young people who are far more qualified than I to have a seat at the table. And I just thought, there needs to be a mechanism where people can actually talk to diverse Generation Zers who want to get to understand us. The pandemic hit and I went back home. And because I was a college student, right? Like all of me and my college peers, most of us went home. I'm a very social person. It was hard, right? Like to not be around my friends and my peers, of course, like it was for most of us, many of us. And I was tired, whole body tired, soul tired. I was in a moment in my life where reflection was uncomfortable because I was just so used to doing. Suddenly all the transit time that I was used to, I could reclaim and maybe go for a run, maybe cook, maybe spend time with my baby sister, maybe lay in a park just because. The pandemic made me really acutely aware of the fact that I lacked local community insofar as at school or wherever I was always a visitor. And a visitor who had a great time insofar as people who are always very kind and warm to me, and I'm really grateful for those communities. But I missed out on spontaneity. If someone was like, I want to go rollerblading at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, no one was gonna call me. I was probably in a meeting or on a plane. The pandemic allowed me to be spontaneous again in some ways. To be like, oh, like I have an hour in between calls. I'm gonna go rollerblade with my sister. Whatever. I didn't do that. I don't know how to rollerblade. I don't know why I said that. But like hypothetically, one could have done that. That isn't to like diminish at all the horrible things that happened during the pandemic and how many people suffered during it. But it is to say that I think it was this powerful moment of recalibration for me to begin to maybe grasp what another lifestyle could look like, could feel like. To begin to think really critically about like, do I like spending time with myself? Do I like the life that I'm leading? I don't know that I have answers to those questions as I sit before you today, but at least I'm thinking about them in ways I don't think I was before. And so when the pandemic hit, it was like, oh, what are we going to do? Like this was a huge part of how we met new clients and a huge part of how we met new employees and how we just built our, and we're a really community-oriented business. Finds a lot of fulfillment and joy in bringing people together and in meeting new people and connecting people as a huge part of the work that we do. But LinkedIn really did play a huge role in maintaining our ability to meet new folks. I met so many amazing people who now we work with in so many different ways, whether as employees of Juve Consulting or as clients or as partners or as mentors or as friends. I think the best advice that I've ever heard is when I was listening to a talk given by Dalia Mogahed. And I believe that she said, you are inconsequential to this work, but this work is still of consequence. And there's a lot of like text post quotes out there, but this one like really like hit me. And when I think about like setbacks, and I've certainly been told no many times, right, on my journey, understanding that any of those no's doesn't really matter because like I still believe in what we're doing. Like it's not about the no that I got. It's about like, what is this broader mission that I'm pursuing and does it still matter? Yeah. And so it's still fulfilling to keep working towards. But like at the same time, I don't want to fall into the trap of this mindset of like, oh, we're working towards a light at the end of the tunnel. Because I think I've been there a lot, and I think that can be really defeating. You keep moving, but it still feels just as far away. And I think the goal for me right now is like to find light along the way. That it's not about some amorphous concept of what achievement or finally making it looks like. It's about feeling like each day is enough. Not like it'd only be enough once you get there. And I think that's a really hard thing to embrace. It has helped me not be as hard as myself on any given setback, but it's not about like, oh, we're going to a fixed point in destination, so any detour gets me further away from it. It's like in each day, I want to like my life and like the work that I do, their no is their loss. To manage my own disappointment in regards to setbacks is this idea that right now, I think too often I embrace a mindset of like, I have to win at every vertical and constantly expand a business, even in areas like I don't particularly like. And instead being like, no, maybe this is an opportunity to redefine what we actually should be doing and then to move forward with more purpose in that direction. With every moment of tripping and falling, it's not like, oh, I'm mad, I'm tripping. It's like, oh, like maybe I wasn't running in the right direction and that's why I tripped. Like you don't need to overcompensate in every possible way. You do not need to prove yourself to every single person who doubts you. Like prove to yourself that you like yourself. Spend time and invest in those who already like you rather than constantly trying to convince a million other people to like you. Maybe it's okay to pace yourself. And that isn't to say like don't run. I don't think that the conclusion should be like, okay, so I shouldn't try at all. It doesn't need to be all encompassing and all consuming and like urgent in all ways right now. If we're not sure of who we want to be, like that's okay. But like try things. Like I think one thing that's really bizarre about this moment is I feel often that the rhetoric makes us feel like at a really young age, we should be happy and we should know who we are and we should have our passion and we should have all these things. And instead it's like, no, it's okay to not have any of that and to instead just find joy in the things that you're doing and to try and to experiment and to trip and fall and then learn to jog.